Hey, listen to this. G'day and welcome back to RC Model Reviews, another mini quad review, the Shuriken 180. What's that? I've already reviewed this? Yeah, you're right, I've already reviewed the Shuriken 180, but today we've got this Shuriken 180. What's the difference? Well, this is red, of course, the other one was yellow, and if we go up to the rest of the box, you can see, very important, Pro. Now the old Shuriken was just Shuriken, see? Shuriken 180. But this one is the Pro version. So what's the difference? Apart from the fact that everything has changed colour, the box is now a lovely white colour, virginal white, and the quad itself is now red instead of yellow. I like the yellow better actually. It's more visible when it gets lost in the undergrowth, but never mind. What are you getting if you buy the Pro model? Let's have a look at it and let's see how well it flies. Well, here it is, the 180 Pro, and as you can see, 4-bladed props is the first obvious change. The older 180, the original 180, had 3-bladed props, as you can see there. But it goes a bit further than that. Obviously, if you've got bigger props, you're probably going to need bigger motors. And this has 2205 motors. The old one had 1806 motors. So we get a lot more grunt, a lot more horsepower in this little quad. That leads me to be a little bit concerned because I know the old 180 was a bit of a battery hog. It would suck your batteries dry in no time. This has got bigger motors, bigger props. So will it suck them dry even quicker? I don't know. We'll find out in the flight test. But what else have they done? Well, there's quite a few little improvements on this thing. Let's take a look for a start at this, the FPV antenna. Not so much the antenna, but the way it mounts. This is the original 180, the Shuriken 180. And notice here there's a lot of gap around that SMA connector there that the FPV antenna screws onto. In fact, you can look down there, you can see that the SMA connector is actually soldered directly to the circuit board underneath, and if we look at the back we can see where the soldering happens, and that was a bit of an issue because it was very easy to rip this connector out of the board because there was no support. It was basically just held in by the solder, and that was probably the most common injury that these little quads suffered. But let's take a look instead at what they've done with the Pro version. Here we go. Now look here, you can see the obvious difference now. The carbon fibre comes right up to the edge, so this SMA connector isn't free to bend. The carbon will hold it in place even though it's still soldered in at the bottom. This is not going to get ripped out nearly so easy, and that's a really, really good thing because the antenna itself is still otherwise unsupported. As you can see from this side here, now if I put the antenna on there, you can see there's nothing really holding that. So if this gets a bit of a knock flying, it's going to try and bend it and puts a lot of stress on the base of the antenna. It would have been really great if they had built in some kind of stress relief on this top platform here, something, a little clip that went around the back and just protected that antenna so only the coax would bend and not the base. But there is a little bit of a solution to that in the form of this Gopro camera mount. Now this cable ties on here, so if we put that on there and we have ourselves a GoPro or similar camera, I've got a Xiaomi here which is actually just the right size. Let's put this in here like so. As you can see now we've got ourselves a camera mount. It's quite good. The angle is nice and everything. And if we put the antenna on, it has to be bent back to actually accommodate the camera there. So the camera is going to provide shielding for the antenna. That's good and bad. It's good because there's physical protection, although I think cameras are more expensive than antennas. But the bad thing is there's also electrical shielding. This probably will affect the radiation pattern, so you may not get very good range when the quad is flying towards you because the camera may be blocking some of the signal. I will see how that works in reality when we flight test the machine, but suffice to say, this is not too bad. But one other thing that I've noticed is this is a little bit heavy. We'll check the weight later on. And the other big change, which is really, really a good one, the camera. Now on the old 180, we had a CMOS camera, and it was a pretty average how you go in camera. CMOS cameras, I'm not a great fan of them. You can probably see it in the side there. On the one they sent me, it was actually incorrectly mounted. It's too far back. They put the mounting ring in the wrong place. So this is going off to our Patreon supporter. I would advise them to actually remount that camera so it pokes further forward. You don't get these little cross pieces in the view. This one, of course, no such problems because it's a great big booty CCD camera, and it's got a really good lens on it too. Nice wide angle lens. Look at that angle on there. The only questionable thing I think regarding the camera is the issue of the blade clearance, because if we look here you can see that there's only just the slightest amount of clearance on each side between the prop blades and the camera. In fact, when I unpacked this, it was actually hitting because the camera had shifted slightly in transport. So yeah, there's no room for mistakes here. These props will, if you have a bang and your camera gets moved, the props will knock the crap out of it. Back to the FPV stuff for a moment. One change I wish they had made on the Pro is the ability to easily change power levels. Now the FPV transmitter in here, 5.8 gigahertz, and it runs on 25 milliwatts or 600 milliwatts. I'm surprised it doesn't also do 200, because 200 is a really handy power level to have if you're racing on a very large track with friends. It's enough power to get you around without too much in the way of video glitching, but it's not so much as to swamp out the person who's flying next to you. So yeah, unfortunately, and I can't understand exactly what goes on here. We have two little jumpers here that we have to change to alter the power level. Since there's only two power levels, why do we need to change two jumpers? Why can't it just be a single jumper? And because they're recessed here under the carbon, it's real devil's own job to get them out and relocate them without dropping them. And it's a very difficult setup. I know a lot of other plug and fly and bind and fly machines have another button down here at the back, so you can change the cycle through the power levels. This has a single button in here, you can see, which enables you to change your band and your frequency. You have a long press to change the band and a short press to change your frequency. Looks like they were going to do something here, but there's nothing in there, nothing you can press. Would have been nice if they just had a push button there so you could cycle through the power levels. I've seen that on other bind and fly and plug and fly quads, and it's really, really handy and convenient. This is a little bit of a down. It's something that, it was an issue in the first one I discovered after I'd reviewed it, but I wish they had changed it for this one. Who knows, maybe the Shuriken Pro Plus will have that little change. And while I'm being really nitpicky, notice if I spin this motor, see that nut? Perfectly symmetrical, perfectly round. Let's go to the other nut, the conventional nut. Look at that, this has got a real wobble on it. And you might think, it's just a little wobble, but when these things are spinning, this is a 2750 kV motor, so this is going to be spinning awfully quickly, and small eccentricities like that can create annoying vibrations which may show up on your HD recording camera. They can even affect the flight controller. The very sensitive gyros and accelerometers in the flight controller can be affected by vibrations like that. So just a quality control. These are crap lock nuts, and interestingly enough, the two left-hand thread ones are fine, but you can see that one's not much good. And if I go to the other corner of the quad, another one of those ones, that's just as bad. So this is obviously a production problem. These nuts just are not centered, they're not balanced, they're not good, but it's a small thing. Now I mentioned that this felt a bit heavy, a bit porky, because it's only a 180 and those are only 4-inch props. So let's put it on the scales that don't show the blood. Well, it's nicely coordinated with the colors, isn't it? 360 grams, right on the nail. Let's compare that to the older one, which, remember, this should be lighter because it has smaller motors. And that is 301, so this is, 302, so 58 grams heavier. That's a couple of ounces in the old money, a couple of ounces heavier for this one, and you can feel it. It does feel heavier when you pick it up. So as I mentioned, I'm a little concerned about the amount of current this is all going to draw, how quickly this will chew batteries. It weighs more, it has bigger motors, it has 4-bladed props which are intrinsically less efficient than 3 or 2-bladers. So I'm thinking this may be a bit of a battery hog. We will find out. Let's bind it up. Let's set it up on Betaflight, because yes, it does come with Betaflight. Another big bonus of this is it comes with Betaflight pre-flashed on the flight controller rather than ClearFlight. Although, to be totally honest, if you're just tooling around, or even if you're racing, I mean, CleanFlight's pretty damn good. Betaflight's great for freestyle and stuff because it has all those extra functions and bits and pieces like the Super Expo and stuff. But most people probably flying a cookie cutter kind of quad like this, Betaflight's probably not going to be a real big selling point, but we'll find out how much difference it makes. And as I say, because it's already got Betaflight installed, it's just a case of whacking it on the old laptop, tweaking a few settings, setting up the switches, and away we go. Oh yeah, and before I forget, the original 180 came in this lovely little carrying case, which enabled you to tuck it away nice and safely, enabled you to put all your spare propellers and accessories up here in the little pouch on the top there. It was great. It made it nice and easy to carry into the field. The new one doesn't have a case. I would have thought a professional model would have come with more features or more extras, including the nice carrier case. No, the professional just came in the cardboard box with the foam inlay. So, a bit of a disappointment, but never mind. Now, the other thing, is, of course, is I don't have a lot of 4-bladed props. I did give you a spare set, which is wonderful. I hope I don't break too many in the flight test. And these are the instructions. It's nice to get some clearly printed instructions on glossy paper with color pictures. It just makes it so much easier for the first timer setting things up. And this has got most of the stuff that you need to know. That's great. All there, so makes life simple. Now remember, you can get this in Futaba FASST, in Frsky, and I think maybe even DSM2, I don't know. Wouldn't be DSM2, it'd be DSMX, wouldn't it? What does it say? Camera, video, receiver, don't know. Look it up. Here we go, yeah, DSMX, right? So there's DSMX, Futaba FASST, or Frsky. This obviously is a Frsky, as was the last one. Right, so we're all bound up and set up, ready to go. The only downside is I only have 1300 packs. I think probably a bit heavy really for this. You'd probably want to run 1000 milliamp 4-cell packs to get the best performance out of this, because as I say, it is getting a bit heavy. Let's see what it weighs with the battery, because I can't remember the weight of the battery, but we're starting to talk porky stuff here. I mean, actually, let's have a look just for a moment. Let's just turn on the scales, give you some comparative estimates. Now, as I say, this is 360 grams without the FPV antenna, and without, let's put the FPV antenna on it so we get a proper representation. 371 grams with everything but the battery. What's the Foxtech Lightning weighing at? There we go. Wow, that's 11 grams more, but it's a 5-inch quad. So that's quite amazing. I think this has got 5-inch blades, so you can get much more grip on the air, even though there are only 3 bladers. I don't expect this to be a blindingly fast performer, because also 4-bladed props are a bit slower than 2-bladed when it comes to speed, but they do give you more bite on the corners, and they're better for freestyle. And what else have I got around here? Let's have a look at a couple of other quads, just to give you an idea of the comparison in speed. Where have I go? Let's get the Shuriken X1, because that's a really kick-ass little quad, and it's also by Shuriken. What did that weigh? Everything without the battery. Wow, see, that's only, it's only 4, no, it's actually lighter, isn't it? Let's go here with the antenna. We're looking at 370 with the antenna, 362 with the antenna, and so this is a lot lighter. This is going to be a much peppier machine. As you know, I really like this. It's got so much power, the X1. So don't buy one of these and expect X1 performance, because you ain't going to get it. But it is going to be a pretty nice, pretty easy flying experience. Now, what have I done with my Bolt 210? I don't know. I've lost it. It's probably, I've put it somewhere safe because I really, really like it. But I can't compare that at the moment because I don't know where it is. Anyway, hold on. Jump cut. Nope. Can't find the bolt. It's in a box somewhere. But here's the DAL 180, 314. So yes, this is a porky little beast. It is going to be a bit of a freight train, I think, in terms of flying. But hey, you're not going to buy this to really race hard, are you? You're going to fly it because you can take it out of the box. You can, and within a couple of minutes, you can get this thing in the air, and it is a really nice integrated package. So, and it's fixed a few of the flaws of the, well, not flaws, but they've improved on the original 180. Now, I'm getting tired of talking. I want to go flying. Let's see how this baby flies. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Let's find out. Right, there you go. I'm positively glowing after that. It's a nice warm summer's day here for a change. Bit of a wind, but not much. And look, you saw what happened in those flights. I mean, that was a bit crazy. The only damage is I have a piece of grass stuck under the frame there. I don't know if that'll hurt long term, but no. You saw I hammered this thing into the ground several times. Not even a bent prop. I even hit the gate once. Tough. But we expect that these days from mini quads now. As I say, totally stock PIDs, didn't change anything in the PIDs. I noticed, as I suspected, it does feel heavy in the air. Notice I hit the ground a few times. It's mainly because I wasn't expecting to have to put as much power on as you do. Partly that's the 1300 pack. As I say, a 4-cell 1000 pack would probably make this a lot nicer to fly, but if you're going to put a GoPro on here, she's going to get it to it's going to fly like a small windowless building if you're not too careful with the weight. I wish Holybro could just lighten it up a bit because I'm getting tired holding it actually. It would be nice, but it's designed obviously for people not who are going to go out there hardcore racing, and it is surprisingly quick. But people who want something, take out of the box, fly it, bind it to the transmitter, go fly it. And that's really what you're going to get with this thing. And just like the 180 before it, it is a worthy machine for that kind of application. Which would I buy? Would I go for the 180 or the 180 Pro? I don't know if the Pro is supposed to supersede the 180, but either way, this is obviously the better craft. It's got more power. It's got a better state of tune, I think. It's got a better camera. And it's just a bit, some of the deficiencies have been thought out much better. So yeah, there we go. The Holybro Shuriken 180 Pro. I think this is, I don't think anyone would be disappointed if they bought this. Another nice product from Holybro. Thanks, Holybro. What do you got next? There you go. That's it from me. You got questions, comments, put them in the usual place, and I'll do my best to answer them. In the meantime, I might charge a few more packs, do a bit more flying. One thing I forgot to mention with this, it does fit nicely in my backpack too. Woo! Thanks for watching. Bye for now.